Could you please stand for the invocation? Heavenly Father, we come before you with humble hearts, seeking your presence in our city. You are God of peace, love, reconciliation, and we ask for your divine hand to bring unity among us. Lord, break down the walls of division, be they racial, political, economic, and cultural. Let love and understanding replace hatred and discord. Fill our leaders with wisdom, compassion, and integrity, that they may govern with justice and fairness for all. Bless our communities, schools, neighborhoods, workplaces with harmony. Help us to see one another as brothers and sisters, united under your love. Teach us to listen with open hearts, speak with kindness, and serve one another selflessly. May your peace reign in our streets, and may we work together for the good of all. Let our city be a beacon of hope, a place where all people feel valued, safe, and empowered. We surrender our city into your hands, trusting that through your grace, unity, peace will flourish. In your name we pray. Let everyone say amen. Amen. Now, as we prepare to say the Pledge of Allegiance, I call forth Mr. John Galloway. John Galloway is a retired U.S. Navy chief, a Vietnam veteran who spent 23 years of active duty. He is currently employed at the Florence County Veterans Affairs Office as Deputy Veteran Service Officer. Now we can say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you to all. We got a packed room, so everybody's mic is on. Council, we have approval of minutes. What say you?
So moved.
All those in favor? Any opposes? The ayes have it. We will have appearances before council. Those who are here, we have a lot on the agenda, and we want to give you adequate time. So you have 5 minutes allotted. So our first person is Miss Gloria Jones.
Great afternoon. I will address my concerns about the water issues at a later date if needed, due to being advised that the community concerns are currently being addressed by the city and the county. The city provides funding to community programs on page 96 of the fiscal year budget.
Excuse me. You've got to make sure you stick to what you signed up for, and I think you signed up for infrastructure, and that you would discuss that.
And it said, and some other stuff.
So we can't just give you a open field. You've got to speak what you are speaking about.
Okay, what did it say I was speaking about?
Infrastructure.
And what else?
Water.
And
water concern. Something else. We really have to make sure we confine what we are talking about. And so we're going to have to start the clock over, allow her to speak, but it's not just an open field day where you can go down the list and just name stuff.
for clarification, you met with the community and I attended the meeting. So my concerns was about things that I have concerns about.
And we gave you, we sent you. So I'm going to get your 5 minutes have begun.
So can I talk and just address it? Okay. The city provides funding to community programs on page 96 of fiscal year 24-25 general fund. Under non-departmental, it shares a list of community programs receiving funds by the city. For clarification, I'm requesting the city explain what is this program that provides community programs funding. What are the qualifications to receive these funds? What is the application process? How is this information shared with the public? What is the criteria and limitations on funding being provided to the same community programs? Also, as a nonprofit organization, I'm requesting the city propose more funding to assist and help with nonprofit organization efforts to giving back to the community. As a business owner here in Florence, does the mayor and city council assist with landlords as it relates to funding to assist with financial hardships due to various tenant concerns? For example, does the city of Florence County Council and mayor have the authority to create a program for landlord assistance, programs to provide funding to repair rental properties? Landlords would like to build on their properties, but due to funding issues, there are a lot of vacant lots. Does the city of Florence offer funding for landowners to receive funds to help build on their property to assist in making Florence look beautiful on their property? The City U 2025 spring application allows educational opportunities for local citizens to learn how the city of Florence functions as a municipality. Can you explain who is over this program? How many citizens are allowed to attend this opportunity? What is the criteria for acceptance? Community involvement. Does the city and mayor allow the local community individuals to be involved on any involvement on issues as it relates to the community? I'm a local citizen that is active in being more involved with the city of Florence as it relates to many concerns of the community. How does the mayor and the city of Florence involve local citizens in being involved on communities to provide community input in the decision-making process of the city of Florence? Also, I am a supporter of Jazz on Dargan being a business that is the heart of downtown Florence. It has brought the community growth, visitors, jazz music, excellent reviews, social atmosphere, local employment, taxes, and much more. I encourage the city of Florence to support the Jazz on Dargan to remain a great asset to the community and the city of Florence. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Next on our agenda is Mr. Tommy Mitchell.
All right. I ain't much on public speaking, but I'm going to do my best here. First of all, I want to thank everybody, the mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and the City Council for letting me speak on my agenda. My name is, for those who don't know, my name is Thomas Mitchell. I'm the owner of Jazz on Dargan right here in the city of Florence. It's located on Dargan Street. We've been in that location for maybe about 7 years. I had a business in Florence for over 20 years. Let me get down here to my notes. We've been in the El Gabe building for about 7 years. We was at the Long Grain Cafe for behind those guys for about 7 years. In every one of my mission statements or business plan, I put that we want to be a part of downtown Florence. We want to be help in revitalizing downtown Florence. You know, Jazz on Dargan been a part of downtown Florence when basically it was a ghost town. We had where nobody would even come downtown even in the daytime. We stuck through that through thick and thin. And then when the town seemed like it get bills up, it's time for you guys to move out. We don't think that's fair, but you know, life ain't fair, but we just want to address that issue. Our purpose here today is to let everybody know that Jazz on Dargan do want to stay downtown. We are well aware that, you know, a private citizen can do anything he wants with his building, but this is where the city plays a part in it. We have where certain residents are complaining that it's too much noise downtown, but we continue to let them build beside a entertainment venue. My good friends Joy and Craig Walker had a business downtown, and that was the same thing that happened to them. I guess now it's Jazz on Dargan's time. And you know, the owner of the building, I asked him what reason, and he didn't give me a good enough reason. He didn't give me a reason at all, really. But I, you know, doing hearing, I know they're going to develop the property that's right beside me. And in saying that, they're going to put retail and condos, apartments right in that building. By our history, that's already downtown, we know that's a bad recipe because the residents ran that business from down there. With me having live entertainment right beside that building, it doesn't make sense with our already history. And for the city to allow residents to move in right beside a venue, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I think we're going to put more, they are planning to put more apartments behind what they call TK Clothing. It's only a matter of time before they do the same thing to him. It just seems like a lot of our smaller minority-owned businesses are being pushed out of town. I'm not trying to make this a racial issue because Jazz on Dargan probably have one of the most diverse patrons there is. I just want to tell you a little bit of some things about Jazz on Dargan, if I can get through it. All right. Got my notes here. Jazz on Dargan is a small business that brings a lot of diversity to downtown Florence. You can go in and look at our comments on our reviews. We bring some of the best atmosphere, food, and just the entertainment. Nobody in Florence offers the entertainment that Jazz on Dargan does. Local entertainers we provide services for local entertainers to show their talent. You almost can't find that nowhere around here unless you go to Columbia, Charlotte. Little to no incidents that happens out there. Little to no. Other than few residents complaining they can't walk the streets at night. You know, we played an active role in helping develop downtown Florence. There's no doubt about it. We had City Grill when it was right there in the El Gabe building. It was nothing downtown. Jazz on Dargan has won probably a numerous awards from entertainment to food to whatever. But this is some of the things that we're asking the city for help on. Having the city to modify their revitalization and their growth downtown.
Their what?
Help to retain smaller minority-owned businesses. And a lot of plans that you guys are making, and it falls on myself too, but we never know about them until they happen. Y'all make all the plans, just like this business coming beside me, and I know it's a recipe for disaster. People gonna complain that the band is too loud at night. I don't understand why would we even consider doing that. In wrapping up, a few things, a couple of people said that, I don't know where this comes from, the city has offered you 3 different locations, you turn all of them down. I have been in no discussion with the city about anything. I did have a few, let me back up. I did talk to the mayor, I did talk to some of the city councils, and they did, work with me on saying some things that we can help you with. Nothing in stone, nothing concrete, but it was there. Just a few more things and I'll sit down. I think that's about it.
Well, while we'll say some things, so I do want to say, Tommy, you know that you're near and dear to my heart. We're from the same area. At everybody's funeral events, you show up. But I also frequent your place because I do love the atmosphere. I love what Jazz on Dargan has brought to the city downtown area. So I agree with you on that. You know, what you have brought, the very fact that you're able to pack this room because of your business speaks volume to you. And every time it was a complaint or something was going on, I picked up the phone and I called you. And I, as soon as I found, probably last October, when I found out about you having to find another place, I hit the streets and I started riding around looking for other buildings, because what you bring to the downtown area is something I feel that is needed. 20 years ago, when I did Oscars, we hit the streets. Ed Robinson and George would come by Oscar James Salon and Spa to tell us to let's go by, because most of the buildings were not owned by us. So we knocked on the doors and we were telling people to buy and not rent. Buy, because what was coming through. My position has always still been the same. I want to see our people to be a part of this. However, with me trying to turn over every stone, calling people, looking for businesses, I have no power as mayor to make someone do anything with their personal business.
We do realize that.
And so, no, I just want to.
But y'all can make policies to stop some of that.
We can make.
Someone's.
And so what I'm going to do is allow the city manager, for us to ask the city manager some questions, because I don't want to give you misinformation. So Scotty, could you please come up?
Now, what is our business to resident ratio that y'all are trying to achieve downtown?
I'm going to let him answer that. He asked the question, what is the ratio of minority?
No, just business
to resident
ratio.
The mixed use. What do we know of the mixed use?
And I don't know those exact numbers. I'm looking at Clint to give me those exact numbers as far as how many residential units we have. There are a number of residential units, as Mr. Mitchell stated, that are on the books to come in. We do know of some down there. I don't know the exact numbers. We have about 80 businesses total downtown. Of those, I don't know the exact number that are residential. However, in all of our plans, and we're Main Street, National Main Street, it does speak to residential. That's something that you push. Most successful downtowns will have a large residential population. One thing, and I spoke with Mr. Mitchell, and I've certainly visited his place throughout the years as well, and I agree with all his statements about how popular it is and all the great things that he's done for downtown, and certainly commend that. These are growing pains that we're having as we develop our downtown. And I asked Mr. Mitchell when we spoke for about an hour on Friday, some of the things that what was the ask? What were you looking for? And he talked about some policies there, and he had some suggestions. For instance, one of them, thank you. One of his suggestions was to actually have the city change its policy on residential and make sure that there's some soundproofing or sound deadening materials made in those buildings. Told him that's something certainly we could look at. I couldn't make any promises on that, but that's a policy decision. And in light of that, Mayor, we do have downtown design standards on your agenda. I would ask that we defer that so we can work with Mr. Mitchell and others and look at those standards that he's talking about, and staff can present that back to this council there, because he's mentioned that he would have other issues that we need to look to as well.
Okay. So if you got any questions, just let me know.
So, and again, I'm a frequent visitor of your establishment as well, and I love the diversity. More than anything that you serve our community with. So I'm just asking the city manager, you've asked for support from the city of Florence. Our city manager, is there any support that we can give as a city to Mr. Mitchell and his business?
Well, let me talk about support that we've done in downtown and small business. We have one-on-one consultation with Downtown Development Office. We have services relative to design support, marketing, education, web design. We have access to our Downtown Small Business Quarterly newsletter. We have eligibilities for our facade grant, and that's $10,000. Sign grant, we have $500 sign grants. Design grant program, another $500, as well as a conditional or a redevelopment grant, and that's competitive, and that's $30,000. We have a conditional grant. It is on a cost-benefit analysis, and those projects must be over $1 million there. We provide $300 business license credit. That's applied to your first year in business. You're also eligible to participate in downtown events and programs. We have a streamlined Idea to Open Services program that includes one-on-one support with downtown development, planning, business license, engineering, and building. So if you have an idea and you're ready to move in, we do some one-on-one to get you moving and up to speed quicker there. We have access to Florence Downtown Development Corporation low-interest loan pool programs. That is, again, we have criteria on that, minimum credit score, et cetera. We work with the Greater Florence Chamber of Commerce on membership. We also work with SCORE on membership, and that's free one-on-one business counseling development there. We work also with Francis Marion and Florence Darlington Tech. We've worked with Jazz on Dargan in the past since they've opened. They applied for and received our sign grant, the City of Florence design grant, the City of Florence redevelopment grant, which is a tenant upfit totaling $29,692. They have also received $300 business license credit through our business department, as well as a $5,000 COVID relief grant from the City of Florence. And we continue to promote their activities weekly through our downtown development department.
Okay.
Let me say one thing about your economic development team. They don't, with me and moving out, they're supposed to bring businesses in here, help retain it. I hear not one word from them since this happened. Not one word. They didn't come and say, that team is for downtown Florence, to develop it, maintain it, and no word. The director is lost on the subject.
Who is the director?
That's Hannah Davis.
Not one word.
So, you're finished?
Well, so with all those programs that we have, if Mr. Mitchell was able to find a building downtown or in our general downtown district area, we could still support him by any upfit or anything of that nature, right?
Certainly, absolutely.
None of those programs you mentioned is available to me today. It's only when I opened up that I got that 7 years ago. It's not available again.
Yeah. If you move to a different building, then yes. The building that you're previously in, the previous owners received funding as well in that, and we got a new owner, we actually extended those offers to you as well. So we will do that. If you're in a new building, we certainly would extend those to you.
Chair recognizes Councilman McCall.
Thank you, and again, Tom, thank you for being here and just showing the amount of support you have. Listen, I'll be the first to say, we talk all the time about this. Listen, when we won the Main Street Award for downtown, which has only been given to 2 cities in the entire state, Greenville and Florence, I'm willing to bet you whatever I got, we would not have won that award without Jasmine Dargan. You are a staple.
Appreciate it.
And so, and we spoke countless times trying to help this transition. I know it's tough. I think we're going to figure something out. But as you can see, and I can't speak for everybody on council, but I'm telling you, there's nobody up here who do not want to see you still open. All right, everybody wants you there. I guess it's just the logistics of how it works. So I will implore you, please, don't give up. Whatever the city has to offer, I implore you to please meet with the mayor and with the city manager to figure it out. I know you probably got a little timeline there, but please don't give up. Downtown needs Jazz on Dargan.
And as long as I'm up here, I will make sure you always have my support. So again, please. But again, Scotty gave a lot of things that we have available. Meet with them, please. So we can figure something out. Thank you.
Hey, I just want to say thank you to everybody who came out. This room, if this would have been at 5 o'clock, I don't know where we'd have put the people. I really appreciate this. This shows you the support that Jazz on Dargan has.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that.
And Tommy, before you leave, Tommy, before you leave, Scotty, and one thing he's talking about is the residents and putting residents down there with the businesses. Now, one of the things in our design review is about having that as an entertainment district. How is that going to work out with residents? Because I know that there's not any resident who decides to move into the heart of the city thinking it's going to be quiet and they're getting a country life. So what is it that we can do to kind of balance that? Because we can't be an entertainment district and offering entertainment downtown, but still trying to adhere to the residents and quiet it down. Because I think we kind of at a catch-22 at that point, right?
Yes, yes, we are. And we talked, and again, back to my conversations with Mr. Mitchell, we have a noise ordinance throughout the city there, and extends into downtown, and it's basically 10 o'clock. It is at 10 o'clock, noise shouldn't be in the downtown area. And we determine noise by decibels in the downtown area. It's like 70 decibels. And to give you a point of reference, 55 decibels is normal conversational. So it's saying anything 70 decibels, if you're talking loud and talking, that would go to 70 decibels there. So and 10 feet away, and you can hear that loud 10 feet away. So that's our standard there. Certainly any policies, council has the authority to change policies, but it is a policy of the city of Florence of 10 p.m. Is in essence the quiet time.
And maybe that is something that we need to look at as well, because it's going to kind of cause more problems down the line if we want to be an entertainment district in the heart of downtown, but we saying, hey, shut up by 10 o'clock. It's just not going to work. So I definitely want us to look into more of that, because you know I come, you know what I mean? And there is nobody else that, like McCall said, all of us want you to be downtown, because you have helped downtown a lot. Again, when nobody else was coming downtown, we were there. When nobody else was there, we were there, and we want to continue to be there. And I think that we got to work together to have a more multifaceted group of individuals and businesses downtown. That's what we need to be, and I think that's what we're going for. We want diversity. We want, we understand the culture and everything that you bring to this downtown area, and we don't want to lose that, because there are no more jazz bars that we can go to in this Florence area. You have brought something special to this area, and we definitely want to harness it and foster that. So trust me, Tommy, we do want you to succeed, and we hope that you do. And we do thank everyone for coming out here to support you today. Keep doing what you're doing, Tommy, and thank you.
I appreciate it.
George.
Listen, it wouldn't be complete unless I also spoke up, because you talk about downtown redevelopment, and I can't just sit back, because my personal involvement this year marks my 30th anniversary of me being personally involved in downtown redevelopment, and I take great pride in Jazz on Dargan being a cornerstone. And unfortunately, I've also taken great pride on several other businesses that you know and I know that we loved that have come and gone. And it's, I'll tell you, my office is downtown, and it's a struggle to keep a business going. It's a struggle in so many different ways, Tommy, but I want you to know that we love you. We appreciate you. We appreciate what you have done. We appreciate what you're going to continue to do. And just want you to know thank you. And I think on behalf of all of us, I just want to say thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Listen, it wouldn't be complete unless I also spoke up, because you talk about downtown redevelopment, and I can't just sit back, because my personal involvement this year marks my 30th anniversary of me being personally involved in downtown redevelopment, and it's unfortunately, I've also taken great pride on several other businesses that you know and I know that we loved that have come and gone. And it's,
Okay, did you have anything else?
Madam Mayor, just, I did get the information about residential units. They're 132 on the books or ready for downtown. That's on the
You
books,
say
not
ready for downtown or already
100
there?
that we've permitted and that we're working through.
So that's more
And that's
residents than
growing.
buildings.
That's what you got now.
That's
It's actually
currently permitted.
Yeah,
No,
Those are permitted,
those are permitted.
Permitted.
They may not
be
be.
here yet.
Right.
correct.
So that's gonna be
Y'all
more
don't think that's
residents
is
than businesses.
getting beyond a
So,
point?
so what we
What is the
didn't,
point?
what we didn't address is what is in our power after a business owner owns the property and it is already zoned. We then can't go in and tell this business owner, you can't put this business there, or you've got to put that business. So we're going to look at the design review to see if but as of right now, we cannot go and tell any property owner what they have to put in their property. And so.
Are you sure?
No, we can't, if it's zoned for whatever, that's what can go in that. And so legally, we can be sued if we tell them they can't put a certain business in in what they own. So we don't have power. So, so we are going to look at the design review and review that and see areas that we may be able to do things a little differently. But as of right now, we have no power. If you own that building, we had no power if you wanted to change it to something else. We will have no power because it's your business. And so what we have to do is now look at future growth and how it affects. And that's what we will do.
But I do think you can, even though that person's building, you can tell them, regulate what goes in that building. If I want to bring a liquor still, and if they're illegal, some of them are, you can tell them they cannot bring it downtown.
But-
You can legislate that.
Well, that's a liquor still.
I mean,
So
and
do
you
you
can
want to
do-
address that?
I'm just using that as an example.
Tell them, go ahead, Scott.
That's only an example. There's certain things that you can do. If you want to bring if 500 residents want to come downtown, and you say we don't want that many, you guys can do it.
No.
Y'all can't.
Okay, no. Go ahead.
In our central business district, there are ordinances, and downtown in essence is like an overlay district, and there are certain businesses that we will allow downtown. We don't necessarily limit, as Mr. Mitchell is talking about, the number of same like businesses or residential units or that. We do not do that.
Okay. Chair represents, opens the door.
And one last thing, again, I'm with you. I would say this though, all right. When you brought this issue up, I did reach out to other council members in other cities. This is not an exclusive thing to Florence, all right? Yeah. It's not a growing concern, but it's always a battle between residents and business. It's not just a Florence thing, all right? I've talked to council members in Greenville, talked to council members in Charleston, talked to council members in Columbia. Same situation, all right? And I've asked for some things that they looked at in tackling this problem. One thing I would say, I think you're going to stay downtown, okay? One thing I would recommend that we do is I think we have to have a concerted voice from the business community downtown, because we're going to hear it from the residents. We're going to hear it from the residents, right? But there's no
every day.
but there's no concerted voice from the businesses down there. So maybe starting an organization that can voice those concerns of what you're saying today, so we can take a look at them. I know plenty of times since I've been on council, it has been plenty times where the residents have brought us ordinances and everything to bring up. Now, because we felt that some of them may have been targeted to particular businesses, we never voted on it. We never brought them up. But they have brought, we were given some things. So I would love to, at some point, to see you all kind of get together and have a collective voice so we can hear both sides, right? Because again, it's not just a Florence thing. It's a growing downtown thing across the state. So I know it's across the country, but again, I did implore and ask questions about that. So
Yeah, last thing I'll say on that is most of those businesses, per se Jazz on Dargan, was down there before any resident was even there. They come build beside you, then they want you to move out. it's a fairness issue too. And I understand everything, but where do we draw the line on this stuff? And and a lot of people saying, well, the solution to that is to buy your business. It is. Well, and I'm gonna just use myself as a minority-owned business. 90% of small minority-owned business cannot afford any building that's downtown. They got the lease. So when people say buy your building, that'll solve the problem, it's probably not totally correct. Yeah.
Tom, just quick follow-up, and this is not only for you, but it's also for everybody. When you look at, and there's a white paper, if anybody's interested in going and looking at it, on a formula for redevelopment of downtown. Listen, you go to Greenville, you go to other cities, and they have been hugely successful in their redevelopment of their downtown. And one of the key elements is bringing residential downtown. You got to have people living downtown, live, work, and play. Okay, those are the three things. And you cannot have a successful downtown without all three.
I agree.
And so the fact that you have developers wanting to bring, like you have the apartment building right over the Emerson and all those apartments right there, well, those are customers for business. Okay, they are also customers for the restaurants. So they're customers, the residents are customers for the businesses that are there, they're customers for the entertainment that's there. So it's an interactive process it's a three-legged stool, and it requires all three. And just like to say, well, you can only have so many residences, it would be no different than to say, well, you can only have so many restaurants, or you can have only so many entertainment clubs. It gets really problematic when you start having all of us up here, none of whom are experts in city planning. Now, that would be the city manager and his planning staff, but none of the rest of us up here are. We're all members of the community doing various different things. And we have to rely on these information we've gotten over 30, 40 years that have said, here's the process. And you have that three-legged stool, and the three-legged stool sometimes is going to lean one way and sometimes is going to lean another way as it goes forward. It's never going to be flat and even throughout that entire process. But the information I've had during this whole time that I've been involved in downtown redevelopment says we need all three. So we need Jazz on Darden. We also need residents. And so if you're asking me, and I'm just speaking for George Bailey myself, if you ask me, well, I'm going to vote against residential's coming, I'm not going to do that.
Oh, no.
We need residential downtown. So I'm supportive of residential, but I'm also supportive of the businesses that are coming. And yes, it is a tough balance, and it has to be balanced out. And that's, Mr. City Manager, as we go forward, looking, is there anything we can do? And if there's some things other communities, as Councilman McCall said, we can learn from some of these other communities. If they have some things that they are doing that can help us and give us guidance, absolutely, we need to look into that. So I hope that helps you to say that we are committed to looking into it. But if you're asking, do we have a perfect answer for you today, the answer is no.
Oh, no, I didn't expect that. But
Okay.
and I do understand, but the residents, when that three-legged stool is one of them is more dominant than the other two, then you got a problem.
You do.
And
Regardless
we only
of which
got
one it is, you're right.
in Reading, the 100 block of Dargan Street. I'll speak on that block. This one I'm in. We only got about 3 or 4 residents. The other blocks we got, the number you just called, in the hundreds.
Right.
3 people is running the whole downtown.
Well, I can't.
That's that three-legged stool you talking about now.
Well, and I understand that's.
They say what goes on in that block every day. They take pictures, send to the chief. They take pictures and send to the mayor. 3 people.
Listen,
That stool is got-
we're here on behalf of the city.
That we for you.
We're here on behalf of the city. We can't speak on behalf of any individuals, okay? And so that's where
Once-
we are.
once
And
they plant
I
that-
spoke to you from my heart.
Yeah, you did.
And I
I
hope
appreciate
you understand that.
I do.
Okay, so
Thank you.
Chipper wanted
right.
to say
So
something.
Tom, the
and
biggest
then
thing I will say, since we've been discussing this and we've had a lot of dialogue back and forth, but today we've actually came with a solution to actually make us, well, not make us defer, but for us to reconsider our downtown design plan. And that is with the soundproofing of residential areas so we can have entertainment. A lot of people come up here and complain and tell us a lot of things, but they don't come with a solution. I just want to thank you for coming with an actual solution that we can look at. So, and you always said it, this ain't really about me, it's for the next guy. You're kind of making a solution for the next guy. So thank you for using your influence for the next guy. But I am supporting you to make sure you're still that guy downtown.
And I want to appreciate all y'all taking your time.
LaShondra has something.
And I want to piggyback because what Councilman Smith said was exactly what I was going to say. Because you packed this room, we're now having to rethink our design review because it was on for us to vote today. And there were some things that I saw as well, but because you packed this room, you obviously gave us the option to defer, and I appreciate that. And when it comes to me, I'm in support of more businesses because that gives more revenue to our city, and we have to support small businesses in the city of Florence. So when it definitely comes to me, I'm definitely about our businesses because that brings in the money. And thank you again, Tommy, for bringing this to us, for letting us understand that there are some things wrong that we need to focus on within these policies. I appreciate you for that.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate
Thank you.
y'all. I wasn't coming at nobody, but I just want to be I appreciate you.
All right, we're going to move on down our agenda. Appearance before is John Cox.
Mr. Cox had to leave.
Mr. Cox had to leave. And Ms. Millicent also. We'll give the few minutes if a few people would like to leave at this moment.
Come on, dog.
Thank y'all, everybody. As you walking out.
Okay, council. If you don't mind, we have resolution from the Montessori, for the Montessori School, resolution number 2025-04. If you don't mind, I'd like to move that up at this time.
So moved.
Second it.
All right. So, resolution number 2025-04, a resolution to proclaim February 23rd through March 1st, 2025 as Montessori Education Week in the city of Florence.
So moved.
Is the,
Second it.
all right, all those in favor did it, and all those opposed, there are none, so you can come forward. Yeah, I'm gonna let you speak right after the picture. Some get on this side. Can somebody? You all, are y'all gonna come and take a picture?
Thank you very much for recognizing us, and thank you, Council and Mayor, for approving this resolution for us for the Montessori Education Week. We are the Montessori School of Florence. We are one of several different sort of Montessori organizations and programs in the PD, even in Florence itself. We believe that Montessori is a wonderful method of education, and everyone should know more about it. Montessori Education Week is just sort of a time for us to kind of put the word out and tell everyone what we're all so excited about. Montessori is just a different method of educating, but what we really love to focus on and what we try and instill in our children is independence, responsibility, and collaboration. Our children grow up to be problem solvers. We want them to learn how to work with each other, to solve problems. That's a leadership skill. We feel like we are giving them skills to be leaders in our community in the future. And, you know, many children are leaders, but we think that we're really hitting it hard. We're really hoping that we're giving them all the skills that they need. These are some of our fourth graders who came with us today. Our school goes all the way through sixth grade. You could do Montessori all the way through high school if you wanted to. We just go through sixth grade. And several of our students wrote some letters. I have just a few here that I was going to pass up so that y'all can read them if you'd like to. I had a whole speech prepared, but then I read one of our kids' letters, and I wanted to read some of that to you because it kind of spoke to me. I thought it would speak to you too. It says, life at Montessori. To me, Montessori is about helping your fellow classmates. You can move around the classroom. You can choose to work on the floor. Everyone works on their own level. We learn from our mistakes by making corrections. 3 grade levels are together in one classroom. Students have better access to teachers. Montessori has helped me to be a kinder person. And I think that says it all. We're just trying to create kind, good people. So thank you very much. I appreciate y'all taking the time.
Thank you so much.
I can answer any questions. I'm always willing to talk.
Thank you. Thank you. Council, next we have ordinance in position. Bill number 2024-22. It's the second reading. An ordinance to amend Article 1, Chapter 3 of the City of Florence Code of Ordinance to add provisions related to prohibiting ownership or keeping livestock of wild animals and other matters related thereto. Staff has requested to defer this.
Question, there was a D, Millicent Newman.
She said that she's not going to speak.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah, she said she wasn't going to
Okay.
speak.
I missed that, sorry.
Yes. Next on the agenda is Bill number 2025-01, second reading. It is an ordinance to annex and zone IL, the property located at 1228 North Casual Drive, identifying as Florence County Tax Map number 00122-01-040. So what do you say?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposes? Let the records reflect that bill number 2025-01 has passed. Next on the agenda, bill number 2025-02. It is a second reading. It is an ordinance to rezone from CG to LI, a portion of Florence County Tax Map number 00147-01-023. What say you?
So move.
It's been properly moved in second. All of those in favor? Opposes? Let the record reflect that bill number 2025-02 has passed. Next on the agenda, bill number 2025-03. It is the second reading. An ordinance to amend Chapter 4 of the Code of Ordinance of the City of Florence, entitled Buildings, Construction, and Related Activities, to establish Article 15, vacant and abandoned residential, commercial, and industrial building registration. This matter has been requested to be deferred. Next on the agenda, Bill number 2025-04, second reading. It's an ordinance finding certain dwelling existed that are unfit for human habitation due to dilapidation, defects in increasing the hazards of fires, accidents, and other calamities, lack of ventilation, light, and sanitary facilities, or other conditions rendering such dwelling unsafe, unsanitary, or dangerous, and other matters. It's a lot, right? Okay. Well, thank you. All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you so much. Now we move down, council, to introduction to ordinance, and it is bill number 2025-05. It is the first reading, and it is an ordinance to annex the zoning of NC 15, the property located at 924, 928, 932 Barclay Drive, identifying the county tax map number 07212-01-043-7. I'm sorry, 07212-01-037 and 07212-01-042. Okay.
Second.
Could you repeat that?
No. No.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. This annexation and zoning request is located in the Vintage Place subdivision. As you can see here, it's the 3 highlighted lots that are in the rear of Vintage Place. They do receive continuity to be able to be eligible for annexation through the rear of the property, which is a separate parcel of land that's part of the proposed Magnolia Farms subdivision, but there's no connectivity between the Vintage Place subdivision and the Magnolia Farms. Here's a close-up of the parcels. There are 3 parcels, and the zoning map shows RG3 to the rear of it. The request is for NC 15, which is in agreement with the lots in the surrounding area. However, these lots do not meet the width requirement of NC 15, but if zoned, they are lots of record, so that would make the most sense. Here are a few pictures of the vacant parcel, and in staff's review, I did want to point out a few concerns that staff had during the review of this. You know, Vintage Place subdivision has a lot of road degradation as well as some stormwater issues that are internal to the subdivision, and so any supplying of services, especially like sanitation, would further, because they would have to go all the way through the subdivision to access these 3 lots without servicing any other individuals within the neighborhood. So, there could be potential more degradation to roads as sanitation. Also, it wouldn't be an efficient use of our services because fire, police, as well as sanitation, it is located in the rear of the subdivision. And also the public hearing, during the public hearing portion of Planning Commission, we did have a number of residents show up and remind us of a 2016 effort to annex the entirety of the subdivision through a 75% annexation. That did slightly fail. They got about 60% or so support. So the entirety of that subdivision did not come in, or it didn't even move forward to council at that point in time. So
The recommendation?
The recommendation from staff as well as from the Planning Commission is not to zone and annex.
Okay. Councilman?
Yes, Jerry, thank you for that. And I have 2 comments about it. Number one, it's time for Vintage Place as an entire entity. If they want to come in, let's have them come in as a whole neighborhood. You have the economy of scale at that point. If you're going to go do trash pickup, you go do trash pickup throughout the whole. And then, of course, you have everybody helping to foot the bill and to help collectively pay for it. And you just don't have 3 lots way at the back. And there's just police, fire, I mean, all of those services, you got to have an economy of scale that goes. Can we go back to that image that shows the entirety of the neighborhood, please? Any idea how many homes there are in Vintage Place?
There you go.
196.
196.
Let's just call it, we'll round up with these three and call it 200. Pardon?
That does not include those.
We'll call them, we'll add those three to it and call it 200. How about that? So if you had 200 homes coming in, that's very different than three. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So I am in favor of, and I would ask our city manager and you, can we have it, it's 2016 to now, that's, 8 years. And maybe it's time to have another meeting with the neighborhood just to see what their thoughts are now. Maybe the whole neighborhood is ready to come in at the 75%. So I don't want to close the door and say, oh no, Vintage Place as a neighborhood can't come in if they choose to do so as a neighborhood. And let's, be proactive and have that conversation with them to see where it goes. It may go nowhere, but at least we can know, and that way we can decide as a collective, does it something that the neighborhood as an entity is interested in? But if the question currently before us is those three, and I can't support just those three.
Councilman.
Jerry, can you pull that image back up again? With the new Magnolia Woods, what's it called?
Magnolia Farms.
Magnolia Farms. Do we have any kind of renderings of what, would there be any connectivity? I see that's a cul-de-sac there. Is there going to be connection with Vintage Place and that at all?
There would not be, no.
I was going to say, if that was going to be the case and that could be accessed, easier through that side, that would be certainly something to consider. But yeah, and we have 3 years in order to begin providing services.
Yes.
So
And water and sewer is available here, so.
But from the
yes.
time of annexation, it's a 3-year clock
Yes.
to actually begin to do trash and sewer and things of that sort. If there was some kind of way, to come in through that way, it would make more sense, certainly.
Okay. All right. You ready for the question? All those in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. Hold up.
If we vote on it or we defer, couldn't they, wait until later and come back if things change? If we vote it and vote it down, then it's not an option for a year. Is that correct or no?
I don't know. That
I think.
Is that just with a zoning change?
For a zoning change,
Okay,
it
so
would.
that's
It
just
would.
a zoning change.
But if they came back as a whole neighborhood, that would be a different request.
Or as individuals, if something changed with that neighborhood and they connected that cul-de-sac or whatnot, okay.
Yeah, I
All
think
right. I
it
just
would.
didn't want to shut them down for a year if
So
there was a.
just to be clear, the recommendation is that council vote no. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
All right. Let the record reflect that this did not pass. Next on the agenda, Bill number 2025-07, first reading. This is an ordinance to annex and zone RG-3. The property is located as 1001 Tunbridge Place and 3. Did I skip B? I sure did. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please go back up. I skipped one. Bill number 2025-06 is the first reading. An ordinance to annex and zone CG, the property located at Gilbert Drive and Freedom Boulevard, identified in the Florence County Tax Map number 00178-01-244.
Motion approved.
Second.
All those in favor? Is there, hold up, we ready to go. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This property is located adjacent to Freedom Estates off of Freedom Boulevard. It was brought in as a combination of residential and commercial general zoning. The neighborhood has been developed out. It hasn't been quite all built out. All the lots haven't been built out yet, but the neighborhood has been constructed. And the larger parcel along Freedom Boulevard was brought in as commercial general. And since then, they have acquired this smaller parcel adjacent to it and wish to bring it in and hook it to this parcel and zone it commercial general as well. City water and sewer services are not available to this parcel, or city water service is available, city sewer service is not. It would have to be extended, but if they hook the parcels together, it would be available because it's available from that Tahoe Lane drive there. And Planning Commission did recommend 7-0 to recommend this zoning designation.
Okay, Councilman McCall.
Yeah, my question is, can you go back to the map? I know oftentimes you'll have residents complain about having commercial properties right beside their subdivision. Was that already zoned CG, the prior parcel, not the little parcel now?
It was already zoned commercial.
Okay, and then did we rezone the RG3 portion, or?
When it was brought in, when it was annexed in, the RG3 portion was designated at that time, and then the commercial was also designated at that time. So it was brought in under the zoning you see there.
Okay. When was this brought? Do you know the top of your head?
I looked it up just the other day. I think 2020.
Okay. I don't think I was on council. We had 21 and 21. Because I it is, of course, you can't vote against it because the CG is already there, and this is just a extra partial. But I can see the residents being upset because you got a commercial general lot right beside it. But I just wanted to know when that change occurred because it just looks kind of weird. But
And at the public hearing portion of Planning Commission, we did have some residents come in that were concerned about that, but once they understood that was already zoned commercial general, they were kind of like you. There wasn't much. Yeah.
from a practical standpoint, it just
That's right. But the zoning ordinance would have some buffer requirements and things of that nature.
okay. So like buffer from where they can put beside. Okay, I got you. All right.
Okay,
Thank
so you ready for the question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposes? Let the record reflect that bill number 2025-06 has passed. Next is bill number 2025-07. It is an ordinance to annex and zone RG-3, the property located at 1001 Tunbridge Place and 3740 West Lake Drive, identified as Florence County Tax Map Number 00751-01-279 and 00751-01-282. What say you?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you,
Jerry,
Madam Mayor.
I'm saying Bill.
These two parcels are located in the Lake Oakdale area. The applicant originally came to us because he had gone to the county to develop these parcels, and under their zoning and the required setbacks, it essentially caused them to be undevelopable. If you're familiar with this area, and let me back up one. You can see along this area the little cul-de-sacs there, just to the left of these parcels, and you can see how there's large homes located on smaller parcels in this area. It's kind of a unique development along the lake here, and his plan was to build similar type dwellings on these lots, but they were essentially undevelopable in the county. It was obviously a PDD or some sort of specialized development at that time. So we worked with him, we talked to him, and under our lot averaging rules of our Unified Development Code, it would allow development of these parcels in a very similar nature to what's along that block and what's adjacent to it. So they did request annexation. The proposed zoning is RG2. Planning Commission was unanimously in support of that, and water and sewer are available to both lots.
Thank you. Councilman
Yes,
Bailey.
thank you. So, Jerry, the items marked in red, the land marked in red, is that the size of the lots that are being
That is, yes.
What about the land towards the lake in front of it?
Those are two separate lots.
Oh, so,
So there's four lots there,
okay,
and only two of them are requesting annexation
at this time.
at this time.
Is
That's
it anticipated that the other two will be coming in after?
The same individual does own one of those lots. However, it is pretty much engulfed in the floodplain. And not only that, it's the floodway portion of the flood zone. And that would create them undevelopable in the city. So,
Okay, so for all practical purposes, that's the only portion that is able to be developed.
that's correct.
And essentially, instead of being in the county building one house, they're now can be in the city and build two.
That's correct.
Are these homes?
Yes, they'll be single
Single-family
family.
homes?
Yes, that's right. Single family detached.
All right, and that's across the street. What is the designation across the street?
The same. It's RG2.
Okay, so what we have here in red is going to be the same as what's across the street.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman McCall?
Yeah, I have just a question, I guess, from more of a, I guess, on the initial end of it. 'Cause obviously this is in a flood zone area. Is the owners going to be coming back saying the city is not properly, you know what I'm saying, with the water? We get it all the time where they'll come in, well, they'll say that the water is, stormwater is an issue, and then they'll blame us, but then they asking to come in the city knowing that it's in a flood zone area.
Yeah.
Y'all have that conversation with them on the front end, basically saying, all right, you are in a flood zone area. You're coming here for the benefit to get 3 houses instead of one.
We did. They're aware they're in a flood zone. These two lots are outside of the flood zone, but the other two lots are in it. So
Well, that's the developer though, but the issue is going to be when they sell the property.
that's correct.
To the homeowners, and they're going to then blame the city for the developer coming to build in the flood zone area. Like, is there any process we have with that?
Well, they would have to build. I mean, they would have to follow any stormwater regulation, and they would have to follow any floodplain development regulation in this area. So they would have to build. These two lots are not in the floodplain, but if they were, they would have to elevate it, to a height of 1 foot above that base flood elevation.
I just don't want us to be in a position where the houses get there, then when a storm comes, which with the frequentness of the storms now, they're outside with the videos. Send it to Tanya Brown.
I agree. Nor do I, Councilman.
But I understand.
Councilman Smith?
Jerry, so now we're talking about two properties, but I'm looking on the petition for annexation, and it says that he wants to build 3 single-family residents. Is that just a mistake on his
I
part?
think that's just a mistake on his part. We
because
would
you're
only
saying
allow
it's going to
2.
be similar to the homes that are adjacent or right beside it, right?
That's correct. We would only allow 2 under that zoning designation.
Does staff have?
Recommendation?
Ms. Neesmith. And Councilman.
So now we said that they're not near the floodplain. How far are they from the floodplain?
The lots adjacent to them, just below here, both of those are in the floodplain.
Where are that now?
The two right here. Just
So
below.
both of those in there.
That's correct.
So you're saying those 2 lots just happen to go outside of the floodplain?
That's right. They're further up the bank.
Okay. Because I'm like, McCall, I don't want them to be, because it's not the developer that has to deal with that. It's going to be the homeowner, the future homeowner,
Right.
that has to deal with it. So you're saying it's just the one, so it'll be their backyards
That's right.
that'll be flooded, and that they're going to be talking trash about it.
Well, potentially, but it isn't a designated floodplain, and people that own property inside the floodplain are aware of it. So.
But will that homeowner be aware of it?
Have to be. They gotta get
They've got to get homeowners insurance.
If their property's in it, they'll be aware of it because they have to get flood insurance on it. However, the property adjacent to it may not be aware if their property doesn't have any floodplain in it.
And my concern is we know the developers would do anything, but when it comes to the homeowners, they're gonna act like they don't know. And gonna be blindsided by this, and when it happens and their backyard is sliding down, going down, or whatever, that's gonna be the biggest problem for them, and it's gonna fall back on us.
I'm sorry, Scotty hadn't said anything yet, so city manager, the floor.
Madam Mayor, now I just wanted Mr. Dudley to talk about the difference between floodplain, floodway. He's made those statements, and I want to make sure that council understands that the difference is there. Also, ask you to turn your attention to item E. We'll be discussing FEMA regulations. So he could, if you could talk a little bit about those differences, floodplain, floodway. Also, I'd like you to address Councilman McCall's issue about storm drain and areas that when they're building that we ensure that they don't put any more water on it, pre-development versus post-development drainage.
So in relation to floodplains, within the flood hazard area, there are different designations. There's the floodway, which is the most restrictive. You can think of that as the run of the stream, or essentially the lake itself and any kind of, periodic, flux of that with normal rainfall. And, that's the area that would be, if we had a heavy thunderstorm, or even a hurricane come through, that's the area that's gonna 100% likely flood in that area. We, the city, have rules and regulations that make that an undevelopable zone of the floodplain. So you cannot develop in that area. The next area is the fringe area, or the 100-year floodplain. That's the area, and you can think of it, it's got a likelihood of flooding once every 100 years. Now, we all know that the frequency of storms is getting worse and worse, so that occurs fairly often in certain areas. And but it also might occur here, but the 100-year floodplain along Jeffries Creek might not flood at all. It might not get up at all. So it's very dependent on a lot of circumstances. That area is developable as long as they meet the requirements of floodplain development, which would mean they would have to potentially elevate the home, put in vents under the house to equalize the pressure from the water, and other different building code requirements. Then there's the 500-year floodplain, which just by the same token has, 500, every 500 years it has the potential to flood, the likelihood of flooding. There's no regulation in that area. There's no FEMA regulation nor any local regulation in that area. Regard to stormwater, we, the city, when someone develops, we require that one, they don't send water on their neighbor. They're not supposed to design their lot in such a way that it's pushing water onto their neighbor. And also they have to have a plan, to get that water to a storm drain such that it has positive drainage away from the house, and it gets to a storm drain or a drainage channel of some sort that makes its way to our public bodies of water. So we do, even on individual lot development, we still do pay a lot of attention to stormwater and to make sure it gets off of the lot and, not on other individuals' lots.
Okay. And just last thing, and I guess based off of you all's review, is there a staff's recommendation on this?
We do recommend that they be annexed and zoned R2.
Okay.
Or RG2.
You mentioned Jeffries Creek. My house backs up to Jeffries Creek. When Hurricane Matthew came, Jeffries Creek surrounded my house. Even though my home is, the front part of it is above, I have to have it elevated because of the flood zoning, and I have to carry flood insurance. So those are things that, as a homeowner, that you realize when you build, your backyard's in the swamp. Well, there's a chance it's going to get flooded.
That's right.
Here, this property itself is not in any of those floodplains, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, ready for question? All those in favor? Opposes? Let the record reflect that bill number 2025-07 has passed. Moving to bill number 2025-08, first reading, an ordinance to adopt the updated downtown divide. We are deferring this. Because of what we've just talked about. So let's move down to bill number 2025-09. It's the first reading. It is an ordinance to amend the City of Florence Unified Development Ordinance relating to the Flood Hazard District to maintain compliance with the current Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, regulations and adopt the revised flood assurance rate map firm.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mayor.
Chair.
Every so often, it falls approximately every 10 years, FEMA reevaluates the floodplain maps within a given jurisdiction. They did the lower PD watershed in the early 20s and released the preliminary maps in 2022. And when they did that, it then goes out to the public process where we have some public workshops, and then there's an appeals period which went through 2023. And so during the update of these maps, we did go out to the public. Myself and Eddie Weaver in our office attended some of these workshops and talked to the public. And it boiled down to there were very little actual map changes within the city during this time. They were very along the fringes of the city, and they were very minor changes. So I will report that there were very few changes. As part of this process, we are required to update the new maps to maintain our eligibility for our residents to participate in the flood insurance program. They also audit our floodplain ordinance at that time, and there are a few required changes that I'll go through real quick here as part of our Unified Development Ordinance and our floodplain ordinance. The first is in our riparian buffer section. We're just simply updating the date of the maps from the December 2014, which are the current maps, to March 25th, 2025, which is the effective date of the new maps. And then the same in the flood hazard area, our reference, our date has changed in this instance. And then under our general standards for flood hazard reduction, FEMA did require us to put statement A in here, which is a statement that says reasonably safe from flooding, that will review all permit applications to determine whether proposed building sites will be reasonably safe from flooding. And there were quite a few footnotes in that section, so it moved all of those down as well as part of the edits. And then in our definitions section, we are adding under the N section of our definitions, the new manufactured home park or subdivision, a manufactured home park or subdivision for which the construction of facilities for servicing the lots on which the manufactured homes are to be affixed, including at a minimum the installation of utilities, the construction of streets, and either final site grading or the pouring of concrete slabs is completed on or after December 1st, 1981. And you might be confused as to why it's 1981. That's the date in which Florence first adopted their floodplain maps. And it's basically saying, we refer to that as pre-firm or flood insurance rate maps if it was before 81, and post-firm if it was after it. And this definition is just saying that a new manufactured home, park, or subdivision, if it was constructed after this 1981 date, it would have to meet the guidelines put in place at that time. So, and this is required by FEMA as part of an update, so I do recommend the approval of this.
Quick question: What if they ban FEMA?
Do what now?
What if FEMA is no longer in place? Would that
I didn't recognize him anyway, so it don't matter. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
We'll cross it when we get there.
That's right.
But I got a question.
Okay, that needs good.
Where are the minor changes to the new maps? Where are they located?
Along, off of Alligator Road, just between, I guess when you get up towards I-95, just outside of city limits, there was some changes along one of the creek or swamps in that area. That's where we spotted the changes. And then there were some other changes along Black Creek, but outside of city limits.
So that was the only one within city limits?
Yeah, there were none inside of city limits.
Okay,
Okay.
that's all.
Everybody's good? Ready for the question? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposes? Let the record reflect that this bill has passed. Next on the agenda, Bill number 2025-10, first reading. And this item will be moved into executive session. So next we will have introductions to resolutions. Resolution number 2025-05. It is a resolution to adopt the Municipal Association of South Carolina 2025 Advocacy Initiative.
At this time, Madam Mayor, because we are going to get legal advice from our council regarding tort reform in executive session, one of the initiatives is in regards to tort reform on there.
So
I would love to, I would love for us to discuss this in the executive session once we get that advice from our council.
Second.
Okay, second and move. All those in favor? Opposes? All right, this item has been deferred. Next, we have resolution.
First, move to executive session.
Move
Sorry.
to you're moving to executive session. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Next resolution is dash 2025-06. This is a resolution authorizing the city manager of the City of Florence to execute an agreement between the City of Florence and the South Carolina Office of Resiliency.
So moved.
Second.
It has been properly moved in second. All those in favor?
Yes, he said that.
But now we got to hear from Clint.
Just real quick.
Where did you come from?
Thank you, Mayor. This is an amendment to our contract with the South Carolina Office of Resilience. They are giving us a little bit more money, so we, of course, always are very thankful to accept that. So this is in regards to the McQueen and Cedar Street stormwater project that's currently under construction now within the Timrod Park area. And so they are increasing the North McQueen portion of the grant by $1,717,000 approximately, and then the West Cedar portion by $331,000. So
Oh, wow. Great.
it's very good.
That sounds great. Question by George.
What is the total cost of the entirety of the project?
The total project now is just over $5 million, about
And-
5.25, 5.3.
And if I'm not mistaken, we already have a contractor?
Yes, contractor is currently working. It's under construction.
Thank God. Because as soon as you don't have one, the price doubles.
That's right.
Okay, so we have a contractor, so the amount we're contracted at, that $5 million, is already fixed, correct?
That's correct.
We're just getting extra money to help pay that bill.
That's right.
Perfect, thank you.
All right. All right, sounds good.
Oh, no.
That's all I got.
Now, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposes? This item has passed. Now we move to resolution 2025-07. This item will also be moved to executive session. Now we will have reports to council. City manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have for nominations of boards and commissions, the Civic Center Commission. That falls to Councilwoman Jackson.
Oh, excuse me.
I'm gonna defer that one.
But the planning,
You know what? We said we were gonna do that in executive session. Report, discuss,
okay,
okay?
we'll take
And
that.
so now we'll move to city manager's report, if you don't mind, city manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a few items I'd like to inform council of. We will be doing smoke testing the week of February 24th in a number of areas off of Oakland Avenue, Waterman, Sopkins, Woodmont area. Smoke testing is just what it sounds like. We will be putting smoke in our sewer system to determine if there are any leaks in that system. We've had several concerns about smell in that area, so we will begin smoke testing. Our marketing director will be getting out information. We'll be going door to door to inform the residents. We'll also have our fire department on standby in the area as well to ensure that there are no issues. But we will be putting smoke in that area. We'll be pressurizing that system with smoke to determine any areas that will have any leaks there. We would see that smoke coming out of that system. Yes, sir.
So I imagine there's like check valves or backflow prevention or something to keep that from going into residential homes?
Yes, it won't go through the homes. We're going to keep it in our main line. It shouldn't go up in the house there. We're looking literally on our main line there, and then again, any areas whenever we have a leak. There are two issues with leaks in sewer. One is obviously the putting that into an environment, but secondarily, we get a lot of water infiltration in our sewer system, and it's not built for that. Now we're treating that water, storm water that will get into our system, but it should not cause residents any harm. They may see it out in the area there and thinking and calling the fire department, hey, there's a fire here. So we will have, again, the fire department there.
And you said that was Waterman, Sopkin,
Woodmont, in those areas, those general areas. We'll narrow down those areas as the weeks go by there, but we will be getting a listing, having this in the public domain through our Facebook, social media, those items, and we'll be going door to door when we start. It'll start that week. It'll take 3 or 4 days there, but we will go door to door with door hangers to inform the public.
And when will we be doing it in the West Florence area?
We'll start this one first, and then we'll start moving around the city.
Okay, Councilman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Scotty, I know you're going to find leaks. There's no question in my mind you're going to find leaks, okay? I'm more concerned at this point is, okay, once the leaks are identified, how is the process going to be about fixing those leaks? Are we going to have to rip up everything and dig down and replace pipe, or we've talked about this, doing a liner that can be blown inside of the existing pipes and just create lining? Is there any opportunity to look at using some of the new technologies that are out there as a means to maybe save some money and speed the process up? And I'm speaking way out of school because I don't know anything about any of it. So I'm just asking the question.
Right. I think all of those are options. Once we identify those leaks, it may make sense to do point repair. There's one point, there's a leak here, and we do a point repair, immediate point repair there. In other areas, we may have to replace a line, or as you talked about, lining that line there. So all of those things are on the table now. We'll work with our engineering staff and team and determine best methods.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman.
All right, so two-part question, Scotty. How often do we do smoke testing? And then secondly, for the areas that we are testing, when was the last time we tested in that area?
We do smoke testing very infrequently. Looking maybe 8-10 years ago, probably. I don't think we've done it in a while now, but we will be doing that shortly. And as we need to, we'll be doing it on an as-needed basis.
One more thing. Is this the most efficient way for us to find leaks?
Yes, sir. When we have, and is it the most efficient way in a larger area? We do get a lot of calls, and we'll go out and we don't see anything. Just having the customers call in and say, okay, here's a leak, and we know about that area there. But without that, then this is the best way.
Okay.
So next week.
So there's no requirement that we do a smoke test or test these every so often or every?
No, it's not a requirement. This is the city being proactive and trying to address issues.
Okay.
Okay, just a few other things, Mayor, if you will. City University, we've talked about that a while. I think this is our third year having City University. It's a 7-week course for the public to learn all about the city and we meet on a, again, 7-week basis with all of staff to talk about behind the scenes look at the city. We will look at the budget and our HR practices and all the water and sewer is obviously big for us, financing, police, fire, all of those major departments there. It starts March 17th and it ends April 28th. Registration opens today and it'll run through March 10th. We do limit it to 25 participants. We do take a bus tour throughout the city. Therefore, we're limited to 25 participants. It's been very successful. We continue to do this over and over again. We've had 9 fires in about 10 days. We're having a run of fires there. Our fire department has done a great job in addressing those issues, but we are recognizing we're having, in this stint here, a number of fires there, asking the public to be diligent in that, particularly as cold weather comes through the area. I do like to recognize our fire department. They did save a 4-year-old, the life of a 4-year-old during one of the fires for sharing this great job.
New fire truck.
Please don't encourage me. And finally, Madam Mayor, Bradford Pair Program, working with Mr. Swindler and the Public Works Department. That program, it's a Bradford Pair Bounty Program, will start March 1st. We will have additional information on that as well. I know Mayor Pro Tem has been chomping at the bit on that. So we do have 100 trees to give away there. We've also working with Duke Energy and having some other giveaways throughout the year.
Just so, Madam Mayor,
Yes.
Speak? Thank you. Just so the public knows, we are not promoting Bradford Pears. No. We are talking about replacing Bradford Pears. If people don't know this, and every so often I think we need to help get the word back out. Am I right, Adam? Right. Okay, we need to get the word back out that Bradford Pears are not a native species. They're an invasive species, and they're really pretty when you see them, but all those white flowers that are going to be coming out probably in the next 2 weeks, all over those trees, they just overkill the pollinating of other plants, our flowering fruit trees and all of that. That's why you don't see them anywhere near peach farms or anything like that, because they'll take over a peach farm. And so you see them all down along the road. So when you're heading down the highway and the interstate and you see all these white puffs of trees out there, those are the invasive Bradford pears. And the state of South Carolina has a program to eradicate, hopefully one day, all the Bradford pears in the state of South Carolina, so that we can have our native trees and plants come back and not be overpowered by these Bradford pears. Thank you very much for that. Thank you, Mr. Swindler, for your help on that as well. It's just one of these little things that I've been concerned about. Thank you.
That concludes my report, Mayor.
George the gardener.
I used to have Bradford pears at my office, but I took them all day.
So now we will do the mayor's report. I want to say to Scotty and the staff, we are doing fireside chat, and it has been a success in West Florence and in North Florence. City Manager, I want to thank you so much for bringing your staff out. Staff, I want to thank you so much. Your presence, being there for the community, means a lot. It means a lot, so we want to thank you. Now, I've been getting a lot of feedback. People are really, really excited that we are lending an ear to them, and so I just wanted to thank you. Now, there's also been some concern that, hey, are y'all, that's it? And we've got a long list that we're working out. Our next stop is next week, next Thursday, at Levi Park, February the 18th at 6 o'clock. Then we're going to the Leatherman Center because some areas don't have the facilities that we have at some of the city parks. So we're using the Leatherman Center February the 21st at 11 a.m. They will do the lunch, and we just come. We will also go to the YMCA, and that is February the 24th at 6 o'clock. We will be adding, this thing is rolling, adding Timrod Park area, Briggs School, and the Greek Church on South Cashua. And so we are really coming up with some great ideas, and I'm in the works right now, working with some community people, following up on the things that we've come up with in these meetings.
When was the YMCA one?
The YMCA is February the 24th.
Okay, thank you.
24th. So
At 6.
at 6 o'clock. The only one at 11 is the Leatherman Center. Okay? I think, so, yeah, that's the mayor's report. So that now we will move to committee reports. And our committee report is Business Development Committee.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Appreciate that. The Business Development Committee met January the 16th, and we had everyone in attendance. We had participation from staff as well, and we had received a wonderful presentation by Don Strickland, PDRTA, and he had his project study team representative, Jeremy Griffin, and Mary Kate Marukian and Kimberly Horn there, and they presented us with their study that they're doing of the transportation in their plan that they have for transportation, what they're doing. It's a very significant ongoing plan. I think at some point, Mr. City Manager, I think we'll be hearing from Mr. Strickland to give us more of the details here for the full council. Is that correct? But so their study is ongoing. Let me just preface it before Don comes and say, while South Carolina has a lot of rural area, PD area, and that's 6 counties that PDRTA services, is a very rural area. In fact, if you look at the number of road miles that are serviced, PDRTA is the 3rd highest number of road miles in the United States of all the rural transit authorities in the whole United States that they have to cover. And so there's always, and I'm sure that Councilman Braddock will be able to give us better information on this with his access to Washington, but there's a lot of transportation dollars that are authorized in Washington, but they're dependent upon a local match. And so if you don't have the local match, you can't get the federal dollars. So, and it's an 80-20 match. So all we need is 20% local to get 80% federal dollars, and we are leaving over these multiple counties lots of federal dollars in Washington because we don't have the local match. The needs for work related, and that's one of the things he stressed, was getting, you have direct now with Harbor Freight, for instance, over in Dillon. There's transportation that goes back and forth to the plant there. You have them coming here to Florence, delivering to the plant. So, workforce development is huge. Hood, I see you here working with Florence Darlington Tech. That's a huge issue. Workforce development and transportation is a barrier. Access to transportation is a barrier to workforce development. So PDRTA provides a critical piece to this workforce development element. And to his credit, Don Strickland, again, the PDRTA, has done a fantastic job. We received all that information. He'll be giving us all of that in greater detail. But that's the summary of it. Is there anything further, Madam Mayor, that you were there? Councilman Braddock? No. Okay. That's the report from the Business Development Committee. Thank you.
Thank you. The Community Development Committee, I chaired the Community Development with Councilman Smith and Councilman McCall. Our meeting, we talked about the fireside chat. We also talked about the 5-point plans for crime, moving forward with the camp, also moving forward, well, you can if you'd like to. We were super excited that the chief has gotten busy when we said we wanted to move forward with technology, and we have this drone that we are looking at getting, which will sit on City Hall, and we enter the address of the crime in 30 to 90 seconds. Anywhere in Florence, this drone will be there. And so we're super excited about that. That adds a really good piece. There's also another technology side with the cameras. Our camera system can connect with businesses as well as residential, giving real-time presence with the police, so that we're able to pull up any person that will allow us. We don't take your cameras. We just, if you allow us to use it, we then can actually in real time use your camera to help to monitor and locate different areas of crime. So we're super excited about that. Then we are planning next week. Our committee will be going to Augusta to look to partner with the Housing Board. The Housing Board and the City of Florence Community Development Committee, we will be traveling to Augusta. Augusta has a high success rate of turning areas of where there is abandoned homes, crime. They actually turn these areas into oases. And so we are going to see what they have done, talk to their developers, and see if that plan will fit a plan for our area. Did I leave anything out, guys? I think that was it for the Community Development Committee. Next, we have the Finance and Audit.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Finance Audit and Budget Committee, we met on Wednesday, January 29th. Councilman Braddock, and Councilman Smith. We met on January 29th. In that meeting, we discussed primarily the minimum job requirements for a lot of our jobs, wage classification and the minimum job requirements for a lot of the positions located here in the city of Florence. Primarily, as I stated in the meeting, if I learned anything from the November election is, people are indicating that they need help, and I'm just looking to see what can we do as a collective to help out the little guy that's just trying to make ends meet. I'm saying that right. Make ends meet. And so I saw a couple other cities introduce different type of initiatives as this, but I think ours might be a little different. I know that the hiring process within the discretion of the city manager, but again, we did discuss it. It's possibly looking at ways we can expand our employment with city staff. Secondly, we reviewed the monthly financial package from December of 2024 by Mr. Glenn. Everything is good. The city is in any trouble financially. And then lastly, we discussed the fact that we're running a little behind, but I think we are, is it February it should be done. The final audit report should be done, Scotty. It's not listed on their minutes.
Waiting for it any day now.
Any day now? Okay. But we're waiting on the final audit to come back for the city of Florence. We did have to change CPA firms. It kind of threw us off a little bit, but we are still tracking to be finished any day now. And that will conclude our report.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Yes.
So I just want to circle back to your comment about the 5-point plan on crime. Casey very wonderfully prepared these little handout here that has laid out the 5-point plan on crime. And Madam Mayor, may I quickly read that?
Sure.
Thank you. Just for those who are unfamiliar with it, the first one is to bring back the community policing team so that we have, and I think that's in the works as we speak, personnel dependent, Chief Heidler, but the idea is to get those police force familiar with members of the community and members of the community familiar with them. The second is to create incentives for members of the police force to live in these high crime neighborhoods. That's a process that's ongoing. There's some funding that is available for those officers that choose to do that. Third, utilizing advanced technology to assist with crime prevention. We heard about the drones and the flock cameras that we're getting funding for. I think there's requests that's being made for additional flock cameras, which are also working. Number 4 is bring back Camp Fever, which is, you want to catch a lot of the youth who are at risk and have an opportunity to engage with them. And that's the 12 to 16-year-old age group, and that will be the summer. We'll start back with Camp Fever again, which will now be called Camp Caraway in honor of Sergeant Terrence Caraway, who passed away in October of 2018. And then the 5th is to crack down with strict enforcement on businesses where criminal activity is occurring with a very high incidence, and that is a process that's also ongoing. And I want to thank Madam Mayor for her leadership in presenting this. We have these up here. Up here. This whole stack of them, I stuck them down here. They're up here for anybody who would like to take a handful of them. Please take them with you and he'll pass it out. We want to get the word out that the city is very much committed to addressing crime. We want Florence to be clean, safe, and productive. Thank you.
Okay, now we will move to executive session. Can I have a vote? All those in favor? Okay, let me tell you what we will be discussing. For discussion regarding proposed economic development project, for discussion regarding appointments to boards, for discussion regarding the contractual matter regarding property related near the City of Florence Sports Complex, for discussion regarding contractual matter regarding Timrod Park, to receive an update regarding Project Urban Square, and to receive legal advice regarding the South Carolina State Bill, which is the tort reform. And we will also do the bill number 2025-10 in executive session, resolution 2025-07 and resolution number 2025-05. Boy, that's a lot. I said in point. I said that already. Yeah, so it has been moved. Let's go into this section.